Welcome back. Djokovic breaks Nadal at love to take the third set 6-2. He closed out that set, winning 8 straight points, the longest point win streak of the match, Brad. This is going one direction in a hurry.
That's what I call running downhill, stretching the lead, and really taking it to your opponent. Djokovic was beautiful from the outset, and watch him starts from the return. He's up on the baseline, deep return, neutralizes the serve, and then immediately goes to work on the backhand. To me, and then once he draws a short reply, hammers away to the forehand, and this is a shot that's been killing him for the last hour and a half. That slice backhand, take that out of the playbook. That is not going to happen. To me, Nadal has got to get up on the baseline on the return. He lost 16 out of 18 points that set on the return, and he's got to get back to where he's running around the backhand and being way more aggressive on the forehand.
No 15.
And look at that court position. 4% of the time he was inside the baseline. You will be looking at a 6-1 set unless you get at least 60% inside where that is, 60-40.
All right. So, Chris, it sounds like Brad's saying red line for Nadal or this is done. Back to you.
Feels that way. The playbook's looking pretty thin, though, Patrick. The Nadal playbook is that a few pages have been ripped out, shredded, thrown away.
Running out of options.
You heard of Vamos from Nadal trying to get himself going after winning the first point of the set. Amazing. Oh.
Well, this guy played for 5 hours 2 days ago. It's you know, Chris, you have all these plays in the playbook, and in that point, Nadal executed them. But the problem is the guy on the other side has the answers, because there was a couple of huge forehands from Nadal into the forehand wing of Djokovic, and he weathered it. And then once Djokovic gets control of the point, it's curtains.
Nadal just finished right in front of me then, and you rarely see this look on his face, but he had that look like, you're kidding me, after that point was finished.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you what you see down there, what energy you're sensing from Nadal. He's stalking around, looks frustrated right now.
It's a little bit like the US Open in the fourth set. It seemed like it was inevitable. It was, yeah, he's got to find something. And I think Brad's right. I don't think he has to redline. Obviously, he needs to hit as many forehands as possible. But court position is a big issue today. He's got to get closer to the baseline. And that starts with the return of serve.
He's dropped back pretty deep for this serve. And Djokovic got it by him. Nadal was hopping the wrong way. So you drop back and you still get haste.
Yeah, drop back, though. It opens up the angles.
Well, that's actually making it easier for Djokovic to serve wide.
Crowd really starting to get behind him, and in fact when he walked out after the change of ends, there was a big round of applause for Nadal, trying to pump him up.
He's trying to will himself into this now.
Pounds forward, try to be very aggressive with that forehand.
Djokovic.
Don't mind seeing that, though, Chris, because at least he was right on the baseline. If he actually makes that, he gets ahead in the point. But when you're 9 or 10 feet behind the baseline, you hit a risky forehand, you're not even getting ahead in the point. So at least that was from a good position. Same again.
Yes.
Look where Nadal is when he finishes that last shot. And this one just behind the baseline, he flattens it out.
Yeah, that's fine there, though, Patrick, isn't it?
Oh, that's a good position for him.
You don't have to be inside, but you just have to be tighter.
You have to be close, yeah. And your point is a great one, Darren, because if you're not tighter and you hit that ball exactly the same way, because of Djokovic's speed, you're now in trouble in the point. So he gets over there and burns you cross court.
Djokovic.
We talked about it at the start of the match, Chris, these little mini battles within the larger war. And this game of this opening game of this set is one of them, because Nadal's making a push to try to get himself into this with a quick break, and Djokovic can sense it. He feels it, and he's answering.
Djokovic holds.
That was a big reaction there.
Yeah, you're right. Patrick's excellent point. I mean, Nadal emotionally into it. Djokovic answered it with some big shots and also plenty of energy himself. And now Nadal will have a tricky service game. He's been broken 5 times in this match. You add that to the 11 times he was broken at the U.S. Open final. Talking about 16 breaks of the Nadal serve in 7 sets.
Yeah, and it's not, you know, you can't just look at the numbers, Chris, and say, oh, Nadal had a bad serving night. You know, he has to serve better. He's having a bad serving night because of the guy he's playing.
Right.
It's not because his serve is off or the wind is bad or whatever it might, because this guy on the return has taken it away from him.
He's having a much better serving night than he was at the U.S. Open. For
absolutely.
Sure. Djokovic
Through the
has just
first
been
couple
able
sets,
to raise his return level enough, and the mental strain of having to fight for every service game, even the games that he hasn't been broken, he's had to burn energy. He's been under pressure. Just no room to breathe.
Yeah, that's it. No room to breathe for him. Can't relax.
Bigger in that rally. Especially off that backhand wing.
15 love.
Court was wide open, but just not quite enough time. There's that deep return to crank the forehand.
He hits it deep, Chris, and he also takes it early. So that combination is why Nadal's rushed and why he didn't have enough time.
The way these games have been going, it's almost a surprise if Nadal does hold.
He's behind in a lot of these points, including that one there where Djokovic had him on the string. That's not a backhand that he's going to miss too often.
Referee says, could I have a few more of those, please? Novak not been in a giving mood, though, since the opening set, that's for sure. How well Djokovic changed direction in that point.
Such great balance. When you look at the unforced errors by set, you talk about tightening the screws, huh, Chris? 19 in the opening set when he was just trying to find his rhythm. 12 in the second, 7 in the third. And it's still early in this set, so 4-3. And Nadal relatively in the same place, but his ability to dictate has gone down. What a return.
What a serve.
Yeah, that's exactly. Really good serve into the body. And he just moves slightly out of the way of it. Watch this, and he gets a clean hit on this ball.
Twelfth time in this match. The game's gone to deuce.
These two games have been very good for Nadal.
In terms of how he's fighting, Darren?
No, not just that. Just more
style.
aggressive. You know, he's not redlining, but he's just playing from a stronger court position. He's going after more forehands.
That return just short enough to allow him to take a big cut.
This is certainly his best chance.
Rafa supporters waving the Spanish flags. They knew the importance of not falling behind yet again early in a set. You joined us a little bit late. I'll tell you that this is the story of 2011 head-to-head. It's really become the rivalry. Nadal and Federer have great nostalgia. They have these huge global fan bases, different styles, different personalities, and all the great memories. But in terms of what's current and now, it's these two.
And they're the two dominant players in the men's game now. Is Federer still capable of winning another major? Absolutely. You know, he's played really tight matches against both these guys, but he hasn't won any of them in the majors.
Let me ask you this: would Federer have been more capable of winning this final against Djokovic than Nadal?
Better matchup. You know, the tennis is so much about matchups, and obviously the Nadal matchup is a good one against Federer for Nadal. Federer generally, his game is more well suited to Djokovic's style because he can play more offense, he can slice better, he serves better. And you remember they played in the U.S. Open, and Federer was one serve away from winning against Djokovic before losing a 5-setter.
40 love.
And beat him at the French.
Well, I remember that's why I asked.
Yeah,
it's a good thing for Djokovic in your mind that Nadal has been the second best player in the world, just ahead of Federer and Murray. You know what a battle Murray gave Djokovic here 2 nights ago, and then a couple points himself of dethroning Novak. That's just another comfortable hold, and the pressure swings right back on the Nadal in the next service game.
Oh,
We were the kings and queens of promise. I've only just begun.
Someone down there has Paris on their mind already, the second major of this season. Red clay of Roland Garros, all the magic of the City of Lights. And Djokovic closes this out, wins this title. They'll be going for not just the Novak Slam, but the career slam there. And I think there'll be some serious conversation about the possibility of the Grand Slam, because it just seems to be a growing gap if he can finish off Nadal in this set. Fans saying, wait a minute now, he was never beaten him at the French Open, and that's true, of course, but he did get him a couple times on clay. That would be sort of the next piece of territory for Djokovic to try to take away from Nadal, the same way that Rafa did it to Roger.
That's right.
Beat him on clay, beat him on the grass, finally got him on the hard court. And the way Djokovic played throughout the year, I mean, I don't think it'd be too smart to rule him out.
No. Djokovic, I tell you, his defensive lobs are amazing.
50
with the full stretch, and he scoops him back and gets him very close to the baseline.
Vlade Divac was better on offense than defense, but he appreciates the defense.
Yeah. He had a teammate that could play some pretty good defense when he wanted to.
Let's see Vlade in the tennis court. 7'1" body.
Djokovic, he challenged the ball on the right far side. Ball was got out.
Nadal figures why not, but that did miss.
Well, he knows he just slapped himself again on the leg because that was exactly the kind of ball that gets him ahead in the point, and he knows that if he can break here, the finish line is very close. Good serve.
That's pretty near his fastest tonight. Djokovic sort of creeping closer and closer in the returns. But it takes a lot to get it by him. On that return, and Nadal made him pay with a forehand winner, 2-all. So Vlade Divac, if he keeps his eye on the NBA anymore. Bulls and Heat, ABC 3:30 Sunday afternoon, 6:30 Eastern time, over to ESPN for the Spurs and the Mavs.
Change of racket here for Nadal. Another one of these players that if they have new balls on his serve, he waits one game, but because his returning serve changes, and he's trying to get himself pumped up here.
Well, again, Nadal knows they've never played 5 sets before. He knows how long Novak played 2 nights ago. He's still, I'm sure, filled with belief if he can find a way to win this 4th set, Patrick. He's very much in it. He would like his chances in the 5th set.
Absolutely. I mean, the longer he can stay even in this set, he can think to himself he might be able to just sort of just gut it out. Instinct.
Footed, but still had to drop that one right in the corner.
This type of tennis that he's played so far in the 4th is by far his best chance. He might lose this match in 4 sets, but at least he's giving himself a fighter's chance.
You saw his father Sebastian exhorting him there. Said not just Tony, but another uncle, Miguel Angel, the former soccer star, and his dad here for the 2 weeks.
First service.
His dad, by the way, said, I want to escape Melbourne, get away from the pressure and the hype and the build-up of this Grand Slam. I'm going to go to Robbins Island yesterday. Popped out of town for a little vacation.
Oh, nice.
Just to relieve the pressure of watching his kid compete for this title. A little bit in the 1st set, didn't it? If the slice can give him a forehand.
That's what it has to. Because if he gets into this slicing and defending, he's in trouble. He's got to slice and then look to go on the attack. So right here, he's got to look for the forehand. He finds it, and boom.
Triple digits. That is monstrous.
An opening here for Nadal, 15-30. From the start of that rally, Nadal just pushing the backhand. And he gets himself in trouble. And Djokovic won't let him out of the corner.
And in your mind, that's the wrong sort of slice to play, the one that nobody can run around and hammer.
Yeah, look how he just gets deeper and deeper back.
He's very patient to keep the ball on the back end side as well.
Yeah, I didn't mean the last desperation slice, but the one early in the point.
If he doesn't hit it low enough and have it get enough bite, then it's easy for Djokovic to roll it back to his backhand.
14-13.
You know, Nadal is so great, and he's won so many matches by relying on his instinct, which is to defend. And that's why he goes to that slice. He says, okay, you're going to have to outrun me. And that's won him 10 majors. And all of a sudden, he's up against a guy who can hurt him from both wings, who can run as well, if not better than him on this court.
Djokovic again has the answer and has the lead in the fourth. The no-lay chant echoing around Rod Laver Arena. Their man in front 2-1 on serve in the fourth. The constant steep uphill fight on a Nadal service game about to begin all over again. Making first serve seems like the only answer to making these games more comfortable. As the match has gone on, Patrick, the gap has really widened how well each guy dealing with the other's second serve.
Yeah.
Djokovic really backing up his second serve well, 64%. That's incredible.
That's a very good number.
Stat for a Nadal match. Rafa's 20 percentage points lower than that.
You know, it's 44% in the second is getting him in a lot of trouble, and he's not even that high in the first.
No.
Barely over 60.
There's a gift. Djokovic had a couple
challenge there.
A little challenge. I think floated on him a little bit. He used to challenge already once in this set. That was the correct one, though.
Wow. Well, the rough night, the rough tournament, I should say, for the Lions people continues. It has been just brutal.
Pascal Maria has overruled some incorrect calls to save the players the trouble of challenging, or we would have seen a lot more of that tonight. I wonder if they have a meeting after the tournament and sort of discuss it. It's been an issue.
Probably had meetings during the tournament, but didn't help.
You work for the UST. You have a lot of meetings, right? That's always the answer.
Yeah.
Someone's got to have a meeting.
Yeah.
Have a meeting and talk about it and fix it. It's tough to.
How do you fix it? The Lions people are missing calls. What would that meeting be like?
You're the meeting specialist. Right. I try to attend as few as possible.
Okay.
Nadal will check and see if that call was to his satisfaction. A slow walk up. It's taking a long time, but won't. You know, Big say, now listen, I want you to really focus.
I want you to really stop missing these
Look
calls.
hard and just get them right.
That'll do it.
That's why it wasn't worth the challenge. It really wasn't close.
30.
One more time. Nadal under pressure. He knows that a break here would just about end his quest. Good fight from behind at that point, able to finally whip a forehand.
He took that one closer to the baseline, and then he was so quick to get around this ball. That was a gutsy shot. One for that at 30 all.
Real struggle to make a first serve in this game. Djokovic going never got to that. But Nadal stays even. 3 all.
3 games.
Looks like there's a lot of folks who aren't from Switzerland with Swiss flags. And a lot of honorary Spaniard Rafa's on the court. There's some Serbian flags in here as well. You're saying that this tremendous generation of Spanish players that may not be backed up by another wave, that Spain could be maybe losing supremacy coming years?
That's pretty typical that you see that one country produces a lot of players for a 10-year period, and then it doesn't always continue. In Sweden, for example, had tons of top players in the 80s and 90s, early 90s. Starting the court. Now you've got a lot of the Eastern European countries producing lots of players. But Spain is still, I mean, they're right at the top along with France in the men's game.
The generation before Nadal and Almagro and Ferrer and these guys, Spain had top players, but not nearly in the numbers that this generation has produced.
And not with, obviously, the dominant player that Nadal has been.
No.
How about what this guy's done for Serbia?
Certainly as an ambassador, the most popular Serb, and a guy who has taken on the responsibility of helping to, in his words, rehabilitate the image of that country after the war.
It's a bad miss there from Nadal. It's a pretty routine ball. He knows it. Telling himself he's back there taking practice swings. You rarely see Nadal do that. He's done that a few times tonight.
Yes, I think so. Game, Djokovic.
Patrick, have you heard this before? Djokovic has the lead. Nadal has a pressure service game coming up.
Yeah, sounds familiar.
With me?
Yeah.
Turns out the factor that many of the pundits here, Patrick, use to justify a pickup Nadal as the underdog in this match, the strain that Djokovic was put under 2 nights ago really hasn't been a factor at all. Maybe a touch.
I thought in the beginning.
Yeah,
the beginning, I think he was maybe just a little bit stiff, but once his body warmed up and he got himself loosened up, he's had no issue at all.
And there's been none of the breathing problems.
No.
People were using that as a justification for picking against him, perhaps. He's looked pretty fresh and completely engaged for almost all of the 353.
Got it.
Shake of the head from Nadal. Another one of those rubber band man returns that he gets at full extension, great depth.
And also every single person in Novak's box got up to applaud Novak as he came after that change of ends. They know the importance of this game. This is where he can make a big push.
Tony's got to applaud. I mean, what else can you do? Nadal hit an unreal forehand cross court. This one right here, a full stretch, and that ball hit the line. How about the returns in this game, Chris? I mean, 3 very good first serves from Nadal, and each return was hit at full stretch, clean, and got Djokovic in control of the point.
In this game, he's just gone a place, Patrick, that Rafa can't go, and nobody else can either. Raising the level, creating 3 break point opportunities for a chance to serve for that trophy. Rafa went after it. He really flirted with a miss in that second to last one.
A couple of drops of rain. Rain's falling.
No kidding, Darren. We haven't had him disrupt a singles match the whole tournament.
And they've reopened the roof to its full extent as well. So this is going to take a while if it starts to come down.
Still a couple of break points to finish this, perhaps before the rain arrives. Trademark guts on display.
Yeah, absolutely.
But still an uphill fight to hold this game.
from Nadal.
Djokovic took the ball and flipped it up in the crowd. Backhand breaking the pattern and wrong footing, Novak.
I think they're going to stop here. This is looking like it's becoming slippery.
Oscar Maria gave a look to the players. It's tough to see there and how much rain there is on the court.
And you can still see quite a bit there.
It's a better shot. Challenge from Djokovic. Wouldn't that be a little plot twist if we have to have a 15-20 minute delay?
Well, the roof is on the move.
Momentum's on the move in this game from love 40. Game point for 4-all. Forget the roof. He could have closed the door on Nadal in this game. That is a gutsy response from a guy who's won 10 majors, and look at the lawnmower.
Leighton Wood would be happy. That was just an amazing comeback from love 40, and Nadal just went for it.
Hats off to Rafa.
And now it's raining hard now, and Nadal says, what are we doing?
Rafa wants to stop it on that note. And
is it actually closing, Darren?
It's closing. It's on the move, yes.
These were the thunderstorms that we thought might be in the way, and Rafa, you can see in that shot the rain pretty steady.
Now the crowd chanting Rafa.
Maria out of his chair to wipe his hand on the line. They'll get slick before the court does, and now here comes the referee.
Wayne McEwen.
Wayne McEwen out at 1:45 to confer with Maria.
They might have the guys just take a seat, let the roof close. They could get a couple of ball kids to come out and dry the court pretty quickly, because it's obviously not a lot of rain.
What a time for a little pause in the action, a little intermission.
We had fireworks the other night, and the Nadal-Federer match that delayed it for 9 minutes.
And after that, Nadal came out very quickly, and Federer was incredibly flat. Novak says, boy, I was a point away.
Serving for
5-3 and serving for the championship. Nadal confused, I think. Did he stay on the court? Are we going to leave? Because this delay will not be just a few minutes. Thank goodness they have the roof. Of course, this is the envy of the Grand Slam tennis world. They're putting a third roof, one over Margaret Court Arena, for next year.
So Craig just announced to the crowd that they're expecting 50 millimeters of rain in the next 24 hours here in Melbourne. So if we didn't have a roof, this match might not get done in the next 24 hours.
Now I love the roof even more, Darren, after that report. You see the area that's wet is really from the service line to the near end of the court to sort of the area in front of the baseline on the far end. The roof has been partially closed, as Darren told you, so it's only a part of the court that's gotten damp.
They're following the raindrops, so there's none behind the baseline now. It's just all close to the net. And you can see the ball kids looking up at the roof as it's closing.
Nadal has left the court. Djokovic still in his chair. Let's check over with Brad Gilbert and Chris McHenry.
All right, Chris and Patrick, thank you. Brad, interesting timing. Does it favor anybody?
Well, what an unbelievable turn of events. At 3-4, love 40, you're 5 points from the finish line, and what an unbelievable dig from Rafa to dig out of that game. And now we could, if we have under a 15-minute delay, there is no re-hit. But now Rafa leaving the courts, you know, it's a tricky situation. Possibly, I think he can get coaching because this is a rain delay. But to me, what courage he showed there, because he was playing a little defensive, and then when he got under pressure there on that third break point, he took a rip at the backhand, a little rush of blood, couple of big serves, and I tell you what, we could have a little momentum shift, and it's going to be a tough game at 4-all now after this little delay to come back and serve if you're Djokovic, because, you know, basically you thought you were going to break and serve for the match. We could have a little momentum shift, and the crowd is waking up.
And the crowd is really behind Rafael Nadal. They want to see 5 sets. By the way, rush of blood. I like when you speak Australian.
And you know what they love? The triple lawnmower. The little Leighton Hewitt Rusty. They got it going, man. Got me fired up.
It's just the crowd that's waking up. Now, if Rafael Nadal, he did leave the court, as Chris said, if he can get coaching, and you're his coach, what are you telling him at this point?
Well, well, obviously, you know, it's a tense situation. But the one thing that you're probably, you know, if you're Uncle Tony, you got to be more aggressive with the forehand. Court position on the return of serve. Occasionally on that second serve, you got to move up, on, you know, on the baseline. But I'm seeing Uncle Tony in the stands, so obviously Uncle Tony, unless he's doing it by mental telepathy, he's not getting coaching. But I'm sure if you're Rafa right now that, you know, you're changing your gear a little bit, and you're pacing, you're ready to get back out there, and you're, in your mind, things have turned around.
Okay, he is back out on the court as we see him back there. Looks like maybe just fresh clothing on. Why don't we take you through the match if you're just waking up and joining us this Sunday morning for the men's championship. Novak Djokovic, Rafael Nadal, #1, #2. And in the first set, here's Nadal.
It was a good start for Rafa. He came out dictating with the forehand and really taking it to Novak Djokovic, and that's what won him the first set. But the second set, Djokovic started to find his way. And then watch the backhand.
Oh, nicest shot on the court.
That was when he started to fist pump and started to really get into the match. And look at this return of serve that sets up Rafa on defense. And watch the ball placement of Novak Djokovic just standing on the baseline, dictating play.
And here's set point.
And once again, Djokovic just lets it fly.
He wrapped up that set with 8 straight points into the fourth.
Emphatic ending of that set. And to me, this whole set, Nadal has been hanging on. But he's done a good job to keep scoreboard pressure. Look at the little dropper. He had Djokovic had Rafa running from corner to corner, but yet to break him. But look at the good point here from Rafa. This is the better court position. Up on the baseline. And then that's when he's at his best, using the forehand and dictating play. And that's a shot he needs to do more of. The forehand, inside out, to the forehand.
Break down the numbers for us. And really, it was the second serve that was killing Rafael Nadal.
And in 8 of the last 9 losses, Rafa has been under 50% on second serve points won. He is at 46%. And Djokovic at a sterling 64%. That is the big number. And I tell you what, if Djokovic isn't 5 for 16 on break points, this match would already be over.
If you're just joining us, we're in a delay of about 7 minutes so far because the rain has started to fall here in Melbourne Park, and the roof is closing, but that usually takes anywhere from about 12 to 15 minutes to get it done. We are in the 4th set, tied at 4 games apiece with Djokovic up 2-1. Now, if you're Djokovic after this break, and the finish line was so close, he is full of confidence, but what does he have to do to keep his mind in this match and not let it get to the 5th set?
There's no doubt short-term memory loss, because you know he's fuming a little bit what happened in that game, but you go back to work, go back to the court position that you were doing, go back to dictating play. And you know, you tell yourself the most important thing after that situation, come back out and hold serve, because then the guy's got to hold to stay in the match. So you just think about it in point and a game situation. Don't get ahead of yourself.
And he has been able to serve several of his games and hold at love. How important is it that he do that? Again, just to send the message to Nadal that my foot is not off the gas.
Well, to me, he in the last 2.5 sets, he's been the much complete player on the serve. He's been holding a lot easier. And in this type of situation, obviously this is going to be the first match that's played at the tournament indoors. You just think point by point. You don't think about holding a love. You just think about one point at a time. I got to get a hold and move on, put the pressure back on Rafael Nadal.
Now, it has been an extremely humid night, as you would expect, with the rains coming down, and it is really hot. How does this change the court conditions? Does it by closing the roof? Will the court play any differently? So let's check in with Darren Cahill. Darren, what's it like down there?
Well, probably another 3 or 4 minutes before the roof gets closed. It's nearly done now, so the kids are actually wiping all the water off the court. It does change the court conditions a little bit because, as we were saying, the humidity in here has been quite strong all night. Once they close the roof, they put the air conditioning system on. It actually sucks the humidity out. So that might be a good thing for Rafa's ball if it can last long enough in this fourth set. Both players went off the court. Firstly, it was Nadal who went off, had a change of clothes. He came on about 5 or 6 minutes ago. He's been bouncing around and he's ready to go. And then Novak Djokovic went off the court and he also changed his shirt. So I think we're probably about 5 or 6 minutes before we get underway here.
Players went in the small locker room that's right next to the center court, not the big locker room. Why wouldn't they be able to get coaching in this situation?
Well, I think it's mainly because it's not really an official weather stoppage here. The roof is closing and they're not sending the guys back into the locker room. I looked across and Marion Vida's still standing there. He had no intentions of going back into the locker room. And I could not see Uncle Tony. He disappeared for a little bit. Now he's back in his chair as well. But I'm not quite sure what the rule is there, but definitely there was no coaching given to the players. But Nadal already is back on the baseline. He's ready to go. And Novak's now walking to the baseline. The roof has got about 30 seconds to go, so it might be just a minute or so and we'll get going here.
Darren, I'm telling you, as a coach, I would have ran down to the locker room just to find out, or down to that area, because to me this is an official stoppage of play because it is a rain delay, and I know they have a roof, but they did stop for about 8-9 minutes, and there will be no warm-up, right?
No warm-up. Play's about to get underway.
Okay, then let's get it back to Chris Fowler and Patrick McEnroe. They pick it up. They're 4-all in the fourth. Chris?
Chris, thank you. Yeah, if Djokovic was bothered by Mother Nature's intervention, he sure is not betraying anything. I mean, he's been pretty unflappable for the last 12 months. 10-minute delay. Djokovic again had 3 break points, which he didn't lose. Nadal took them back and held. But it has been a very comfortable set on serve, a total of just 5 points lost in his 4 service games. We have seen delays, stoppages, which are typically obviously much longer than this. Turn matches around, give one guy a boost, break the rhythm of the other guy. You just don't get the feeling that's going to happen here.
I don't get the feeling that's going to affect this one, no.
But the way Nadal dug out of that service game,
that could. Yeah, exactly. Not at all like the other night when Nadal played Federer because of the fireworks, and Federer, I think he lost 11 straight points.
Nadal that night actually put the headphones on and he was running up and down the indoor tunnels right next to the court to stay warm.
That was at much an earlier point in the match, but you're right, it was a pretty puzzling reaction by Federer. He completely lost it. No intensity at all after the Australia Day fireworks break.
Well, I agree with what Brad said, that Nadal's got to take some more chances like that on the second serve. And I just think he went away from that. He did it once or twice in the first set and actually hit a couple of good returns, and then he completely went away from it, from stepping in on some second serve returns. And that's a big reason to me why Djokovic has such a high number on those second serve points won.
He says, one more.
Right.
One more game to confirm a #1 ranking. Rafa up against it again. Is this the time for Djokovic? The clock creeping toward the early minutes of Monday morning here in Melbourne. Seems like for about 3 sets, Nadal has been behind in the set score, down a break, or behind on the scoreboard, and just having to fight and claw to hold. This is a must hold.
Oh, that's the one Nadal wanted, just overcooked it. Doesn't talk so much about the great defense of Nadal and how that's pressured players into mistakes. Well, we're seeing a little role reversal on this one. A lot of unforced errors from Nadal. That's 52 now in the match because of the defense of this man.
Cannot let that miss, though, shake his confidence, because he has to keep going for it. Nadal's will has made this much better fourth set than it looked like we might get after the third. This would be one of the few commanding holds that he's had. But he's not off the hook yet.
Djokovic again punishing Nadal's second serve here. Gets Nadal on the run with that return and then knocks off the next one for a clean winner.
It's inspiring to see points played this way after 4 hours and 18 minutes.
It's just sheer will from Nadal, the way the second and third sets went. That he's in this, and this crowd is showing their appreciation. They are firmly in his corner right now.
The angle that he created with that backhand. This is pop.
Thank you.
Now Sedan back to work. The tough task of getting at the Djokovic serve. Because all the tight games in the set have been on Nadal's serve. It's to have a kind of an easy Djokovic hold, and then the rhythm becomes a lot more intense as Nadal tries to answer. Nadal hasn't really been close to a break point in this set.
Not in this set. But he's got to tell himself now, all I need is one. Just give me one chance.
And that's a gift. Funky. Miss it, return to drop very short. So hard to see any sign of tension, tightness in this man in the last 12 months.
I still like the fact, Chris, that Nadal's looking to be more offensive. Look where he takes his return from. He's right on the baseline. He gets caught here, but at least he's sending Djokovic a message. And he's going to look to take this. This time he drifts back.
Mentioned before also the fact that once they close the roof, they throw the air conditioning system on, and it does suck out some of that humidity that's been keeping the ball from bouncing on the court. So this becomes a little bit interesting as this goes along. I'm sure it takes a while for that to kick in. If Rafa can somehow find a way to win this set, it's going to be very interesting conditions for the fifth.
Good point there, and that ball did kick up a little higher on the backhand side, made it tough to handle. No. Simply will not allow Nadal to get to break point. That was huge.
Talk about how he's managing himself under pressure, Chris, and what he's done in the last year. That was a perfect example. Just calmly, I mean, that's a high-risk shot to go back up the line.
That's my point.
At
you
5
guys
all,
supposed
30
to feel
all.
some tension, right?
You would think. He's probably feeling it. It's just the way he's handling it.
Djokovic leads.
Nadal will contemplate yet another pressure service game. And we'll keep it here. Constant uphill fight since he toughed out the opening set, which seems like a long time ago. And Djokovic coming out a little bit subpar, a little sloppy at the start, a little flat, but then turning the momentum at the beginning of the second set, getting early breaks in sets 2 and 3. Nadal double faulting in set point in the second set, and no breaks of serve here in set number 4, but Nadal always feeling the heat of serving from behind.
Yeah, Djokovic has had 3 break point chances in this set, and she hasn't been able to convert.
Yeah, 3-4, love 40. That was for Nadal. Crunch time, but this is crunch time again.
Yeah, Nadal's dug in so well in this match when it seemed like it was after the midway through that third set, like there didn't seem to be any hope for him at all, the way the tempo of this match was playing out. But he has just willed himself into this set, and he looks pretty fresh. And so did Djokovic, and remember he played 4 hours and 50 minutes against Murray.
And we're just 26 minutes short of that. Nadal went jogging out to the line to serve. The amazing ability to play harder in hours 3 and 4 of a match. Great defending by Nadal. He's showing his opponent lots of energy and a couple little weary moments for Djokovic.
You're right. Yep. I think the footwork has gotten a little flat from Novak. And Nadal is feeding off of that.
Nadal a point away from a tiebreak. That's got to feel pretty good. Boost in confidence. A rare easy hold. In the next few minutes, Djokovic ready to stick in the knife, hold his title. Oh, this will go the distance in 5th set.
This is where you need to draw on every single bit of that preseason work that you've done, knowing that if you look down the other side of the court, that you believe. Convince yourself that you are fitter, stronger, and faster than your opponent. That's what Rafa is doing right now.
And which guy will think more clearly in the tiebreak?
Djokovic. Thank you.
It's wide.
We talked about this earlier in the match, Chris. Nadal's ability to move quickly. I mean, he absolutely sprinted in to take this one out of the air. And he is pumped up now.
How well are these two guys moving at 4 hours and 29 minutes?
It's just shocking. No one else in the world gets to that shot.
No.
Thank you.
Boy, in the scheme of things, that's a bad miss for him because he had that on his racket and Novak was completely out of court. That was very makeable.
Feeling the pressure to be so precise with the shot.
Yeah, you can see by his reaction. He knew it. Just kind of guided that ball. Didn't really go after it.
Novak's not happy. This crowd is 95% for Rafa.
Used to bug him. Better not let it get to him now. Tiny margins.
Uncle Tony was clapping because that's the kind of shot he wants his guy to go after.
Flattened it a bit and took a huge cut. Now the seconds to think about it on the crossover. Big difference. 4-2 up to 3-all.
Feels like we're back in the MCG.
prefer tennis to cricket, then, if you don't mind.
Football. It's football. 100,000 people crowded in there for an AFL final.
Nadal's shot was called out on the sideline. A little smile from Djokovic. What a swing on Nadal's 2 service points from up a mini break. Clips the tape on the forehand. And another aggressive return.
Nadal has 3 challenges.
Control of it, swings over to Djokovic. Gets his corner on their feet.
Looks up at the crowd to sort of say, take that.
5-3. Djokovic.
Absolutely no hesitation whatsoever in any swing from Djokovic in this point. That is just stepping up.
It's simply ridiculous how hard these two are working.
You know, as Nadal said yesterday, Darren, you've got to be willing to suffer.
One more ball, one more, whatever it takes. He was up against the ropes in that rally. They suffer. Tennis fans love it. This is a new level for the sport.
I think they love it too.
Back on serve.
You just cannot dig any deeper than this man's digging right now.
Novak's turn to curse the tape. set point. To force a fifth.
Thank you.
You won't see a better example of it on a tennis court. For the first time, Nole and Rafa are going 5 sets for the Australian Open title.
Everybody suffers when you're pushed up to the limits, when you feel that in every second you can actually fall down of how tired and exhausted you are. But that's when actually that all hard work that you put into all these years comes into play.
You have to go a little bit more, you have to fight a little bit more, you have to practice a little bit more to try to win against an opponent that is always putting you in a big trouble. And that's the real sport, trying your best in every moment and fight until last ball. That's the final goal.